Did you go to the fair when you were little?
I have, yeah. I did go when I was little a few times. Mostly when I was pretty young, like between 5 and 10 years old, and not really much after that.
I'm from a very small town in Ohio, and when the fair came to town, it was a big event because there was nothing else going on.
Right.
Everyone went to the county fair. It was so much fun. And I will say, for a few years working for ATF, I got to go out to the county fair. They have like a first responders day. And you go back and you're like, it takes you right back to your childhood, And the Oakland County Fair is back this year after a hiatus last year. And with us now, we want to bring in L.C. Scramlin. He's the general manager for the fair. Great to have you with us, L.C.
Well, it's great to be with you folks, and it's great to be with people again.
I will say all I'm thinking about is one of those big elephant ears.
Oh, we've got them. You better believe it. And people have been lined up for them, and it's funny. It's kind of a joke that the lines have gotten a pretty good size sometimes, but you talk with people, and everybody says, "We don't care. We just want back a taste of normal." And an elephant ear is a great symbol of normal life again.
Right, isn't it? It's the little things that we totally miss. And with that, for those that aren't familiar, the fair is actually underway right now. It runs through Sunday, July 18th. But where is the fair? Because it can be a little bit hard to find.
That is true. I mean, it's one of those things that's a little negative, but an awful lot of positive that we're out really for Oakland County and rural Oakland County, little town of Davisburg. We're on the Springfield Oaks County Park, part of Oakland County's great park and rec system. And we have an agreement with them that the fair is here. And we're celebrating 50 years. This is our birthday year. 50 years we've been here at Springfield Oaks. And so it's like I said, once you're here, people feel like they're out in the country, and that's true. Unlike a lot of fairs that have been right in the core of a town, and the towns have grown up around them, we are still out on Andersonville Road, which is a 2-lane pavement. But when you're here, I think people just love the atmosphere that they've come to the country to tie themselves back to one of the real traditions in this country. Because the Oakland County Fair, our roots go all the way back into the 1800s.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a monument in Pontiac. The fairgrounds back then was in Pontiac. And on Fair Avenue, just off Saginaw in Pontiac, there's a big monument, stone monument, that the community was thanking the Fair Board for allowing them to train troops for the Civil War in 1861 at the Oakland County Fair.
Wow, look at that history. We learned so much.
That's history.
We probably have all passed that a million times in Pontiac and never really stopped to look for it. I'm going to go on a scavenger hunt this week and try to find it.
There you go. Yeah, just take Saginaw. So many people, when they're coming north on Saginaw, turn and make the Y there onto Oakland. But continue straight onto Saginaw, cross over a wide track, and you'll come, one of the first streets is Fair Avenue. And you'll look to your right, and there a little lot that's, it's 4 or 5 feet tall, a big stone monument with that. So that tells a little bit about history. But we made history last year, unfortunately, a way we didn't want to. But we're making we've so far in our first 5 days, we have just about doubled everything as far as attendance and that. And it's just been wonderful to see the response of people this year wanting to get back to that tradition.
So with that, Elsie, can you give us a little bit of a behind the scenes of what it takes to put on the fair?
Well, and that has been a struggle, there's no question, because as you were mentioned with one of the previous guests that I was listening to, this shortage of manpower right now has been a real struggle to find help. And of course, really, we weren't fully able to know that we were going to be able to go forward with basically a normal fair until just about 5 weeks ago. So that was a pretty short time to put everything together to have over 100,000 people coming. Just the logistics of that, of making sure that everything from bathrooms to trash removal and all the other events that we have, the contracts and that, are in place. So quite the scramble, quite a difficult time doing that, but it's all certainly been worth the effort so far, that's for sure.
And we should say to anyone going, have some patience, because as you said, you try to put all of this together in 5 weeks, because it's hard to know where we are. I know for us here, the St. Mary's Festival, it was canceled again this year because you just never know. And so when you get the green light, it's full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead. Yes, and so it's been tricky. Most people have. I mean, the lines for the rides and food concessions have certainly been noticeably, truly, especially Friday and Saturday, the first weekend, everything was double for our normal, and we had some pretty good attendance to begin with, but each of those days we had almost exactly double our normal attendance for those days. So I must admit the lines for getting onto the rides and some of the food venues, even to use the restrooms, there were lines. But truly, I've been very pleased that people still have as I mentioned earlier, boy, you talk to them as they're standing in line waiting for an elephant ear or their roasted ear of corn. People have just said, we want to be here. We are just thrilled that this is happening at all. So it's been quite a rewarding thing to see the smiles and the attitudes of people that as we get back to normal.
So, Elsie, if I can ask you, because you did just mention rides, and of course, the video of the ride in Traverse City at the Cherry Festival went viral. Luckily, no one was hurt, but I'm sure you're getting all the questions about the rides there at the fair and the inspection process.
Yeah, I was sure all these TV interviews and that they just wanted to hear me, but mostly it was about that. And of course, we know the Arnold family personally because I work with our new state fair down at Novi, and the Arnold family that have the carnival in at the Cherry Festival is the provider down at the state fair. And so we felt very bad for them. It was a fluke. We've talked with our ride inspector here what happened and the fact that it was a mechanical thing that really couldn't be evaluated once in a 500 years or something that accelerated that motor and made that ride go faster than what it should normally. And just thank goodness that we know that we've scrutinized the rides here even more. Each ride every morning is fired up and ran in front of an inspector before it goes into operation for the day. And so, of course, you just feel like you have to just even go a little bit above and beyond what you normally do, just with that in mind, realizing that, our safety is certainly our main concern for all of our people coming to the fair.
So if someone is going to the fair, they haven't been before, or they haven't been in quite some time, what are some of the fan favorites at the fair this year?
Sure. Well, one of the new features that we have is a high dive team. And boy, they're up there about 70, 80 feet in the air, jumping into a looks to me to be a real small tank, but and catching themselves on fire and then diving into a tank of water. It certainly catches your attention, yes.
Oh my gosh.
When they said they had that, I couldn't hardly believe that, but sure enough, that's how they open each act is by catching the diver completely on fire, and then he jumps into the tank of water. But he stands there for it seems to me for an eternity before he jumps. But anyhow, we have a great wood carver here with his chainsaw. We have exotic petting zoos. We have the racing pigs that people have loved for quite a few years, racing 6 or 7 times a day. And we, of course, we have all the young people here with their projects, showing their livestock and all their skills, from everything from computers to sewing still. So all those things for the general public to view. We have crab races, hermit crabs racing, a butterfly exhibit. There's something for everybody, and it'll bring back a smile. And as you mentioned, bring back some of our we have a tremendous agricultural background in this country. Really what this country was built on is our success as an agricultural society. And boy, it'll bring you back to help you remember where your food comes from. And even better than that is where our next generation of leaders come, these young people that have brought their exhibits and that here to show what they have been able to accomplish.
LC Scramlin with us here on the MegaCast. He's the general manager for the Oakland County Fair. LC, I have to say, when I was growing up, my friend, they lived out in the country and they had cows, and we, you take the cow to the fair to show the cow, and you clean it, you braid its hair, we would help it. And cows have the most expressive eyes and very long eyelashes, and you get attached to the cow. But then the cow gets sold,
Of course.
to go to the block, and then you're like all sad.
Well, that is one of our learning experiences with our young people. I've seen my 3 children come through, and we've spent some long nights as they've said goodbye to that. But at the same token, they're excited to realize that they're helping to feed this country and feed people, and so it's one of those little mixed emotions. But it's a great thing to do as far as a parent. It changed my life. With my parents, I was always involved in the fair and 4-H. I've been through it now with my 3 children, and today my grandson starts at 6 years old. He's his first year exhibiting here at the Oakland County Fair. So another generation. So it's another exciting time to see them come along and keep the tradition going.
And have you seen there is more of an interest from the general public coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic? Because especially in the beginning, it really put a focus on our food supply and how and where we get our food from.
Oh, you most assuredly, because for one of the really first times for a lot of people, there was a question about whether there was going to be food when you went to that supermarket. And, that is not, thank goodness, and one of the great successes in this country has been the thing that most of us are not used to. We're just assuming that Myers and Kroger and all those the shelves are going to be filled. So they do. And so they've asked more questions and more interest of the kids and us as adults walking around. I've had more questions asked about the food supply and what we saw last year and how it's being rectified now moving forward to try to make sure that we have safeguards more there, that we don't run into that problem.
So we know the fair runs through Sunday. What are the hours and what is the cost?
Okay, it's not. We open the gates at 9 each morning and we run till 11 o'clock each evening. It's the admission is by the carload, so pack that car right to the brim. It's $12 for a carload. Come on in.
That's a great deal. That's the best deal of the summer.
We believe so. That's true. And most everything that we have talked about is free. I mean, all those acts that I just talked about and seeing the exhibits, that's all free. There is a charge for the carnival. And there's different days with discounts and that. Go to our website and that tells it. Then we have grandstands, and so we're going to have rodeo the next 2 nights, a figure 8 race. The demo derby will be back on Thursday. Boy, that's one of the traditions of the county fair, is especially here in Motor City, that we have a demo derby to smash up cars. So people love that. And the monster trucks will be here on Saturday. So lots of great entertainment in front of the grandstand. That's a separate charge. But like I said, for $12 a carload, you can come and sure spend a good share of the day enjoying yourself and having some fun.
Hey, are you doing the first responder day this year?
Yes. Yep. That's Thursday.
It's always a good thing, because I will say the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, they have all the cool toys when it comes to law enforcement. And, working for ATF, all we had was one big truck. And Bonnie, the dog. Everyone loved Bonnie.
Good old Bonnie.
But, Elsie, it's been great having you. We so appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you folks having interest in giving me this opportunity to tell everybody about what's happening out here. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you. And just thank this country and the first responders for bringing us through this thing. And just great to be here.
It is, like you said, nothing, it's just enjoying those little moments. They mean so much to us this year. And happy 50th. How's that?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.